All right, welcome back, Truth Seeker. Friday, November 22nd, 1963 on this day, the JFK assassination. If you take a look at the Dallas game tonight, they can get to 6-3 at home against the Cavaliers, which equals 63. Talk about that in a moment. Let's review yesterday's games. Not a bad day yesterday. I saw Douglas crying in the chat with the trolls saying he hasn't won any money the last couple days. Douglas, if you're not winning when we're putting out majority winning picks, don't cry with the trolls about not winning. You losing with winning picks isn't my problem, you know. Don't go be a little baby and cry with the trolls because you lost with winning picks. That's not my fault. That's you doing a bad job. Anyhow, yesterday in the NBA, Bucks look like the more likely team to win of the favorites. Getting quite a bit lined up for the Bucks, plus picking up that 6th straight win on the 21st, 21, the 6th triangular number. So Bucks got it done, and we said if there was going to be an upset last night, it would probably be the Suns because they have injuries. You could make an argument either way for their conference record. They haven't been playing well while they've had the injuries. So Pelicans won their 3rd straight, Suns lost their 3rd straight. And the Bucks beat the Blazers, so not really any surprises there. Hockey, let me pull up ESPN and look at the scores as we go through this. By the way, today we'll look at NBA, NHL, and college basketball. And I've already done quite a few college games. We'll do a couple more live at the end of this. There's that hockey music. All right. Yesterday. Okay, so yesterday. Things that stood out in this game, it was mostly about the Bruins getting that 8th home win against the Sabres and the Sabres picking up their 7th away loss of the season. So Bruins won here, close game, 3-2. The Panthers and Ducks game, it looked like Florida would get their 29th points against the Anaheim Ducks. Anaheim Ducks 109, the 29th prime. That did happen. The Panthers took care of the Ducks. And the Ducks also picked up that 7th away loss, going with our 7 theme. The Penguins and the Islanders was a really close game. Tough call. Islanders on fire, hard team to go against. They did pick up their 33rd points in New York. We saw that it was Barry Trotz's 102nd game. Somebody called in and made this observation. His 102nd game against the year of the 102nd Stanley Cup. This year began on October 2nd, 10-2. Islanders became 10-2-1 at home. The concern was there was a chance they could fall to 9-4 at home. New York Islanders is 94, but the Islanders kept it going with another win there. The Flyers and the Hurricanes. I think the Flyers came back and won this game. Yeah, the Flyers came back and won this game. I was thinking the Flyers getting that 12th loss in Carolina was the most likely narrative. Carolina equals 37, the 12th prime. And then we learned it was North Carolina's birthday yesterday, too. I suppose I guess I should have thought more about this. Again, I was looking for teams that could pick up 7s rather than stay on them, but the Hurricanes did stay on 7 wins at home, and the Flyers did stay on 7 away losses. So that one was sideways. The Blue Jackets and Red Wings game looked too close to call, and I believe the Blue Jackets won. Yeah, Blue Jackets took this one. Red Wings got their 17th loss and stayed on 7 wins on the 17 date. There was just a chance Columbus could have got that 7th loss at home. The Flames and the Blues. We saw that the Blues could give Calgary their 6th straight loss on the 21st. We talked about that near the end of the Decode. And that is what ended up happening. Streaks of 6 on the 21st. 21, the 6th triangular number. It was really close. You had 2 strong narratives going for both teams. But then once we saw that 6th straight on the 21st, that looked condemning. And same thing happened with the Canucks and Predators game, because the Predators looked like they had a good riddle until we noticed that they could get the 6th straight loss on the 21st as well. And that did happen. So the streaks of 6 on the 21st. Again, those numbers with mathematical relationships. Outside of that, the Predators had some nice things lining up for them. The Avalanche and the Wild game, we talked about how Colorado could fall to 7-6 against the Minnesota Wild, and they did. They fell to 7-6 away, losing to the Wild. The Lightning and Blackhawks game, the sevens were in the Blackhawks' favor. The concern was Chicago staying on 22 points against Tampa Bay. And Lightning did take this game. They kept the Blackhawks on 22 points. Tampa Bay 79, the 22nd prime. The Stars and the Jets game. Yeah, this one was tough. Stars did have the 7th win on their side, but there was also concern they would fall to 6-5 to the Winnipeg Jets. They did get that 7th win, so the 7 played here. Stars got the 7th win at home. Maple Leafs ended their losing streak at 6 on the 21st. They were on a 6-game losing streak. And then the Sharks and the Golden Knights. I thought the Golden Knights were going to win last night. Pretty sure they lost. Yeah, they lost 2-1 in overtime. Caller did call in yesterday, and we talked about how Las Vegas does equal 23, but the Vegas seems to play more, and from my observations, that is true. The Sharks could have got that 7th away loss in regulation, and the Golden Knights could have got the 7th home win. Ultimately, that's what I was going with, was the 7s yesterday. And it came out in the majority of games, but not all. And then the Kings and the Oilers game, we saw the Oilers could lose, and the Kings could fall to, or the Oilers could fall to 7-5-1 away. Kings 75, losing to the Kings. And we saw the Kings could get to 7-4-0 at home. Edmonton Oilers 74. So Kings handled their business. So majority of games came through in hockey. It was a winning day in hockey. And, if you don't take good bets and bet them straight and all you do is parlays, you can end up like Douglas losing. So again, it's all about the intelligence level and making smart bets and smart decisions. Kings, nice payout yesterday. Game everybody could have won on, because strong riddle here. The 7s on both sides. Both teams, the away and home record lines up. I mean, it's a good game to make a straight bet on. It's a good payout. And anyway. So, college basketball. Let's see. College basketball yesterday. Need to get up all the games here. Oops. All right, so Duquesne, again, we were looking for the 40s yesterday. They had a chance to improve to 4-0 on the day, leaving 40 days left in the year. They won. Towson looked good to fall to 2-3 against Xavier. Xavier 83, the 23rd prime. I believe Towson lost. Towson got smoked. Texas and Georgetown. Yesterday we talked about through the coaches how this looked better for Georgetown. The trick was, though, Longhorns equals 50. They had a chance to get to 5-0. Texas coach got his 67th loss. Hoyas equals 67. Something I missed yesterday that I should have had in here is it was Patrick Ewing's 67th game as the Hoyas coach as well. Today will be his 68th. They're playing Duke, and Hoyas also equals 68. But we saw the Georgetown coach could stay on 30 losses. That's Ewing, and Texas equals 30. So Georgetown won this game yesterday. Beat him good, too, as an underdog. And, yeah, it did line up on both sides for the coaches. Typically, that's a good sign. Got us the other day, though, with the Marshall game. Akron and Youngstown, we talked about how this looked a little bit better for Akron. Akron equals 23. Youngstown could fall to 2-3. There were 40 days left in the year. Akron can get to 4-0 at home. And the one concern was the Youngstown coach's next win was 23. Akron is 23, but like we said, I really thought the 40 was going to play yesterday. Akron handled their business in their game. And Wofford and South Florida. Pretty sure South Florida won this one. Yeah, I liked Wofford more here. I was wrong about this one. Bulls equals 33-12. Wofford could have got to 3-3 and 1-2 away. They were a slight underdog on the road in Tampa. Yeah, they got beat pretty good too. Utah and Coastal Carolina. Pretty sure this game was wrong. I was right on the 40 thing. Utah got beat good by Coastal Carolina. I was thinking they'd go 4-0 on the day, leaving 40 days left in the year. Charlotte and Appalachian State. Appalachian State had the coach staying on 40 losses on the day, leaving 40 days left in the year. Again, that was the number I was really looking for yesterday. Appalachian State won their game. And Omaha, Washington State. I thought the Cougars would get to 3-0 at home, especially since Omaha just gotten beat pretty good the day before. But no, Washington State dropped this game, so Omaha was a pretty big upset. But I thought Cougars 30. We didn't have a 40 riddle in that game. Well, other than Omaha possibly falling to 0-4, sort of like the reflection. Central Michigan and Minnesota look like the most complete riddle of the day in college basketball. Just a lot lined up for Minnesota. And Minnesota won soundly 82-57. UC Irvine, TCU. We saw TCU could become 4-0 by beating the Anteaters 40. And they did. Close game, 59-58, but they got it done. They were a big favorite too, so closer game than expected. We talked about how Toledo had a good narrative to upset Notre Dame. And they played them really close. 2-point game went to overtime. So if you took Toledo with the points, you would have been in business there. Duke in California, I mean, we assumed Duke would win. I know Duke won by a bunch. Can expect Duke to go places this year. They scored 40 points in the first half. Of course they did. California fell to 4-1, Duke 41. New Mexico State, wrong side of this game. New Mexico equals 42. I was thinking in the Battle of New Mexico would fall to 4-2. And instead they won, getting to 5-1. Louisiana and Wyoming, talked about the Cowboys getting to 3-3, Wyoming 33, and Wyoming becoming 3-0 against Louisiana because Cowboys is also 30. And I believe they won their game. Yes, they did. They won it by 8. Buffalo and Yukon. We saw that Yukon could become 4-0 versus Buffalo. And Yukon handled their business against Buffalo. So, you know, Douglas, I know you're watching right now. To be chopping it up with the Choles and saying, like, this is why Zach complains. This is why people complain about Zach, because he says he has a good day when he really didn't have a good day and I didn't make any money. It's like, dude, Douglas, what the fuck are you talking about? Seriously, man. This is why people complain about me. Let's count it. 1, 2, 2-1. I'm not even going to count the Duke game. This counts 3-1, 4-1, 5-1, 5-2, 6-2, 6-3. 6-4, 7-4. We didn't do that one. 8-4, 9-4. 9-4. I mean, is that bad? Is that bad? I mean, that's like almost 70% of games right. And in hockey, it's about the same ratio. You take the Bucks game. If you played the Colts last night, they were the underdog with the points. You won on that. They were a 3.5-point dog. I mean, to be complaining today in the chat because you didn't win, that's your problem, man. Sorry, if you don't win on a day where you get the vast majority of the games right, you don't blame the person who gave you those picks. I like you, Douglas, but you've been crying a lot over the years when you shouldn't be crying. So, anyway, you get the award for biggest crybaby. All right, and Colts and Texans, I didn't see the game last night, but I heard Deshaun Watson fumbled at the end, and he clearly was a fumble, and they let him keep the ball. So sounds like the game was scripted for the Texans to win. Again, it was a really tough call. The 12s could have gone either way with either quarterback. To me, the narrative for the week-to-week was a little bit better if the Colts won because of the 6-6 thing. But if you took the Colts with the points last night, you won your bet. They lost by 3. That covers, so... that ref on the field, he was number 62. Ron Torbert equals 62, like Houston, Texas is 62. We talked about that. Looks like I forgot to write Houston, Texas equals 62, but I know we said it out loud. We were talking about it with the World Series that ended in Houston on the day, leaving 62 days left in the year with the score of 62. So the stadium thing here last night too, it was tough to call because, well, had the Texans lost, they would have been 75-66 in their stadium. Indianapolis Colts is 75, Colts is 66. So the stadium thing is interesting, but maybe that first week we looked at it, it was just beginner's luck because pretty much everything came through that week. But last week it was only 1 out of 3 with the stadium reads, and I'd say if anything, this was an incorrect lead with the stadium last night. So anyway, close read, close game. I guess I'll update that to leave the Houston, Texas note there. Okay, so that leads us to today's game. So we'll go over NBA. There's only 2 games in hockey again today, and there's quite a few college basketball games, but I didn't see that so far. There's still a couple games I got to decode, but I don't see a lot lining up with the college basketball games today. So anyway, Hawks and Pistons, 431st game. Detroit leads 220-210. Detroit is 123-73. It is the 74th NBA season. This is going to be the last game in Detroit between these two teams this year. They've already played one in Detroit. The Hawks won that game on October 24th. Won it pretty soundly, too, 100-117. And let me see. I meant to look at the streaks here too. I want to write that down. Pistons have lost 5 in a row, and the Hawks have lost 4. Okay. All right, so the last game was 29 days ago, 10th prime number. The Hawks are 2-5 in the conference. If they lost, they would be 2-6. Hawks does equal 26. I don't see any connection with Detroit, though, in terms of what they can do with their conference record, win or lose. And the Pistons are 4-9 in the conference. I don't know how much weight I'd put on this. Atlanta, Georgia is 59, where the Hawks are from if they won. The Hawks play at Detroit, then at Milwaukee, and then at the Pacers. If they lost 2 of the next 3, they would be 3-7 away after the Pacers game, and Pacers is 37. So I think that's very likely that they that they lose 2 out of the next 3. And if that were the case, I mean, this probably is the easiest game at Detroit. Pacers, I suspect they'll lose. But there's no real strong indicators for this game. So let me check one more thing about the Pistons real quick. Pistons do play the Bucks next. If the Pistons lost today and their next game to the Bucks, well, Bucks equals 11. Ugh, that's tough. And then Milwaukee's 37, the 12th prime. Yeah, it's tough. All right, let's just move on to the next game. The Hornets and the Wizards. Charlotte equals 39. Today leaves 39 days left in the year. The date numerology today 72, 45, 18. They all break down to 9. The lesser date numerology is 52. The day plus the month's 33. Again, today leaves 39 days left in the year. The thing that stands out the most in this game, if the Hornets did win today, they would be 4-5 in the conference on a 45-date numerology. If they lost, they'd be 3-6. Hornets is 36. But the thing that stands out the most is the Hornets. If they lose, they become 3-6 away. Actually, never mind. I'm tripping, man. I forgot something that's crucial here. I zeroed in on the Miami 36, but Miami equals 45 too, so that's actually not going to be that helpful. Trying to find something in that game. Yeah, if the Wizards won, they would be 3-3 at home. Washington, D.C. is 137, the 33rd prime. It is 11-22. 11 plus 22, 33. They would be 5-8. Washington equals 49 and 58, so that can go either way. Bradley Beal's been on a tear lately. So let me keep moving, though. There are some games I like today, and these first two aren't either of them. The Kings and the Nets game, the Nets are without Kyrie Irving again. Right now they have a winning record without Kyrie. They have 2 wins and 1 loss without Kyrie. If the Nets won today, they would be 5-3 at home. Brooklyn Nets equals 53. The Nets are 3-5 versus the West. If they won, they'd be 4-5 on the 45-date numerology. The Kings, they're 3-2 versus the East. Kings has the Gematria of 33. New York has the Gematria 33. They play the Wizards next. Washington, D.C.'s 137, the 33rd prime. The only thing I can see in favor of the Kings, and it is worth considering, is that if they won, they would be 7-7, and then they would play in Washington, D.C. on the 77th meridian, where 77 does show up a lot with the D.C. sports riddles. So that is one thing to consider for the Kings. Hold on, let me check one more thing that I might have forgot here. Okay, no, we're good there. Okay, so yeah, going in 7-7, it is possible. It looks a little bit better for the Nets for the immediate thing. It's just that one thing I'm concerned is, man, do the Kings go into DC 7-7? That number really does show up a lot with Washington DC in sports. I wish the Kings were playing the Wizards to become 7-7. But it's hard to ignore all these other things here that look a little bit better for the Nets. The Heat and Bulls game. Miami is 6-0 in the conference right now. They have not lost a conference game. They play Philadelphia next. So I'm just thinking, if the Heat lose, we got to look at Jimmy Butler because this game's got to be all about him. Let's see. All right, hold on. He's only played 2 games against Chicago. He's 0-2 versus Chicago. That's interesting. All right. If he won, he'd be 1-2. Chicago's 37 12th prime. Okay, so the Bulls are 3-5 at home. That's tricky because Miami's 36 and 45. That can go either way. It's just the one thing that really stands out here is if Miami loses, they'd be 6-1 in the conference to play Philadelphia next. Philadelphia 61 shows up a lot. At the same time, though, the Bulls are 4-8 in the conference, and Chicago Bulls 49 plays a lot too, so they could fall to 4-9. Bulls does have an S, so there is also a 58 value, just that 49 shows up way more. Chicago's 35-22 at home. If they didn't lose today, they'd stay on 22 losses at home on the 22nd of the month. So that's one other thing. But Bulls are a potential upset today, largely because Miami can become 6-1 in the conference to face Philadelphia. So potential upset to think about. But again, there are better games today. We're about to get to a lot of those. The Lakers and the Thunder game, the only thing that I can really see that could go against the Lakers in this game is them falling to 4-2 away because Lakers is 42. So that's possible. I wonder if we might see them go to 6-1 away, though, just because they did it at home 6-1. Maybe they'll do it away. That's a big finals number. Finals 61. So this is the 251st game between these teams. That's the 54th prime. The Thunder could fall to 5-4 at home. And in light of that, New Orleans equals 54. The Thunder host New Orleans in the next game. Hold on. Somebody's sending a lot of text messages. Let me just make sure they're not telling me. Somebody says that they cannot hear me, that there's no audio. Let me check with the chat. Can you guys hear me, or is the audio muted? Audio inputs on. All right, I'm waiting from the chat to see if you guys can hear me before I move on. Let me type. Can you hear me? All right. People are saying they can hear me. Okay, for the person who's sending the text message that there's no audio, I think it's maybe you hit the mute button or you unplugged your speaker. Maybe reset your browser. Okay. All right, so the things that really stand out here to me, though, the 4-2 away is possible, but look at if they're losing the conference, they're 3-7. Los Angeles is 37, and if the Thunder lose, they also fall to 5-4 at home to host New Orleans next. The riddle for them to win at home would be to get to 6-3 because Friday's 63. But again, so many of these records are syncing up with the next opponent. Just like how the Thunder are 5-3 at home, Los Angeles is 53, who they're hosting tonight. So I think Lakers probably get it done here and very possibly become 6-1 away, the finals number. I'll show you something else about who they play next away. They got the Grizzlies next. And remember, Grizzlies has that championship Gematria. 131. Championships 131. Super Bowl is another 131. When you write out 57, it equals 131. Remember, NBA Finals is 57. World Series is 57. So, anyhow, I think Lakers get it done here tonight. The conference record makes sense. And the next opponent makes sense for the Thunder with a loss. The Spurs, they could lose their 8th. Hold on. Something I mean to be doing with each of these games, too. Hold on. I'm forgetting to do it. Let me, What's up, Rod?
What's going on, Zach? Everything all right?
Everything's all good. What's up, man?
Cool. I had a couple observations. So, the Lakers game, I see they can get it's just like the Hawks game. The Hawks, they can get their 5th loss and get their 11th overall win with the prime number, and Lakers can get their 6th straight win and a 13th overall victory.
I see that. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yep.
That's a good one.
And if you see how Portland just lost against the Bucks, so Bucks just made Portland the prime number relationship 5 and 11. So if Detroit win today, then they go play the Bucks. Plus the Bucks equals 11. So it's only right for them to get the 11th loss against the Bucks when they play them next.
And what team is that you like to get the 11th loss? Detroit?
Yeah, I mean, that means Detroit has to beat Atlanta today, and then they play the Bucks next. They play the Bucks. Like, Portland just became 5 and 11 against the Bucks.
Right.
So Detroit gonna do the same thing. It's the same pattern that they're doing. Bucks gonna get the Pistons the 11th loss, and they're gonna stay at 5 wins.
Okay, so you're thinking the Pistons win today and pick up the 11th loss against the Bucks.
Right.
Okay.
Yep. And if you notice, like the Hawks will get their fifth straight loss and their 11th loss, so it's like a prime number. And Lakers can do that, and the Hawks can do that. Like the win streak and the overall record, it syncs up with a prime relationship.
I hear what you're saying. I still have one concern about the Pistons, and that's them becoming 3-4 at home just because they host Orlando next.
Right.
So yeah, you could be right though, because a lot more often than not, teams' home and away record is syncing up with their next opponent, but not in every single game. So you could be right about the Pistons getting that 11th loss against the Bucks.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's the only two I think. So I believe Lakers probably be good today, and I believe Pistons too.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
All right.
Good observation. All right. Appreciate it, man. Thanks.
All right, no problem.
Let me go back over these games I already went over because I got to make sure I get the streaks in here every day. For whatever reason, I forget to do that. But yeah, the streak information can be crucial. So the Wizards have won 1 and the Hornets have lost 2. Wizards have won 1 game in a row. I guess it's not. Hornets have lost last 2 games. 3 equals 56. Washington, D.C. equals 56. All right, the Kings and the Nets. Let me get this real quick. Nets have won 1 in a row, and the Kings have won 2 in a row. What is the right way to say 1 in a row? It's not much of a streak. Okay. Heat and Bulls. Let's see. Heat. Heat have won 4 in a row. Bulls have won 1 in a row. Alright, so the Heat could run 5 in a row. Is there something to that? No. Alright, Lakers, Thunder. Lakers have won 5 straight. And Thunder have lost 2. Okay, so anyway, again, what I really like about this game is that the Thunder can fall to 3-7 in the conference versus Los Angeles, and they can fall to 5-4 at home because they host New Orleans next. And it's also the 251st game between these teams, which is the 54th prime. So, okay, so Spurs have lost 7 straight. That's a record for Popovich in the time he's been the head coach. Could get his 8th straight. And Philadelphia. Let's see, Philadelphia. They've won 2. Okay, so this is the 96th game. Spurs lead 58-37. Phillies 25-23 at home. Both teams are 2-4 against the respective conferences. 76ers has the 34 connection. So 76ers could become 3-4 versus the West. Spurs could become 3-4 versus the East. You can make an argument either way. The Spurs play at the Knicks next. New York Knicks is 61, the 18th prime. If the Spurs lost today, they'd be 1-7 away, like NBA 17, and then if they lost to the Knicks next, that'd be 9 straight, and they'd be 1-8 away against the New York Knicks. Let's see. The 76ers are 5-0 at home. If they win today, they'd be 6-0, and they play the Heat next. Heat 16, the reflection of 61, Philadelphia 61. So maybe they beat the Spurs to get to 6-0. Maybe they lose to the Heat to become 6-1 at home, the Philadelphia number, because then they play the Sacramento Kings next, and Sacramento Kings is 61. So I'm thinking that's probably the order this goes in. 76ers beat the Spurs, get beat by the Heat, face the Kings at home 6-1. Probably win that one. So I'd favor the Spurs to lose their 8th straight. The streaks of 8 haven't been perfect in the NBA, but they seem to be coming through more often than not. So that's probably the best clue on the board in that game. Again, today's the anniversary of the JFK assassination, which happened in Dallas, Texas, and that happened in 1963. And I noticed the Mavericks could become 6-3 at home. Cavaliers is 63, Cavs is 63, Friday's 63. So I think that's probably the riddle. The devil's advocate narrative would be the date of the JFK assassination had 96 numerology. If the Mavericks lost, they'd be 9-6 at home. But I think it's more about the 63 thing. And just one little devil's advocate thing is Cavs, Cavaliers, Friday, they all equal 36 as well. The Cavs could get to 3-6 away. But again, Mavericks are playing really hot. They're a big favorite, and I think the tribute is here to 1963. Caller?
Hey, Zach.
What's up?
Based on what you're hypothesizing right now about the Heat and the Philly, do you think the Heat go on to win their next 3 games in a row? They're on a 4-game win streak, right?
Why would they win their next 3? What's your thought about that?
Well, if they win tonight and they beat Philly, who do they play after Philly?
Well, I'm thinking the Heat could actually get upset tonight because then they would become 6-1 in the conference, like Philadelphia 61, because that's who they play next.
Okay. So you're predicting that they lose tonight in upset fashion, and then they beat Philly.
Yeah, I think that could be very well what happens. I'm not saying for sure that the Heat are going to win their game because there are a couple things on the board that could definitely go against the Bulls. It's just what really stands out to me is how much 61 shows up with Philly. Case in point, Tom Brady just beat Philadelphia this weekend and stayed on 61 losses.
Yeah, but how about the Jimmy Butler narrative? Because Jimmy Butler used to play for the Bulls and he used to play for the Phillies.
Exactly.
So it makes sense if he beats both of them, and then because the Heat, they're on fire right now as a narrative. They're like. They're beating everyone's brains in.
Right, they haven't lost in the conference yet, so.
Yeah, I do see them beating Philly. I mean, I don't know. That's gonna be a close one, but.
Well, Heat definitely could win the game tonight. I would not be shocked if I did play the Bulls. I'd definitely take them with the points. It is dangerous to take the Bulls. It's just that 61 staring me in the face. So.
That game could get bloody. I mean, I could see the Bulls upsetting, but I mean, honestly, the way the Heat's been rolling right now,
you're right.
They've been blowing teams out by like 20 points,
Yeah, they've been looking really good. So.
But I would say one thing: that's a sneaky line. That -4.5 is kind of sneaky.
Is that what it's at now? It was 5 earlier.
Yeah, well, no, it probably moved. It opened at -5 actually, and then it moved to -4.5.
Okay.
And then the Lakers are kind of playing a home and home set because they just played OKC at OKC 2 nights ago, right? And they won by 5.
Right.
And they're favored by 5 again.
Yeah.
All right, I was just calling about that because I thought that was interesting what you were saying about the Philly. It sounded like you were onto something there. So.
Okay. Yeah. Appreciate the questions.
Have a good night, Zach.
All right, thanks, man. See you. Okay. Did I get the streaks right down here? Yeah, Heat have won 4 in a row. Bulls have won 1. Last one. Okay, so where were we? Lakers, Thunder, Spurs. Okay, so anyway, Mavs are big favorites at home. They're playing really well. I think 63 is the tribute. Couple more things that could go in the Cavs' favor. The Cavs lead this series 40-36. Friday equals 36. Dallas equals 41. They could get the 41st win in the series in Dallas tonight. But again, doesn't have to come today. Could happen the next time they're in Dallas. Or it could happen 3 years from now when they're in Dallas. You never know. They could lose the next 8 games against Dallas. So I wouldn't put too much weight on that. Dallas is 20-17 at home. If they did lose, they would get their 18th loss at home on the 18-date numerology. Didn't really see anything with the East or West records. And let me just check one more time who the Mavericks play next in the East. Hold on. Detroit. Well. I guess there was something there. If Dallas lost, they would be 4-4 versus the East, and they'd host Detroit. Or Detroit's the next team they play in the East, and Detroit's 44, so it's possible. It's just the way the Mavericks are playing. I'm having trouble imagining them get upset right now. They are destroying teams, and that the first thing I saw was, wow, they can get to 6-3 on the anniversary of the JFK assassination in 1963. And my first thought was Cavaliers equals 63, so it's still probably the riddle. But yeah, there's a couple things there. If you want to use the Cavaliers as a parlay multiplier, Mavericks did blow a game at home against New York that they shouldn't have, but we saw that riddle, and that had to do with the Porzingis trade and everything, so a little bit different. You could think about the Cavs as a parlay multiplier. I'm still thinking that 63 is the riddle, though. Okay, Warriors and Jazz talked about how the Warriors should drop their games to Dallas and Utah to get that 14th loss versus Utah. Utah 14 to fall to 3-14 like pie. Like Steph Curry's birthday, March 14th. And again, pi has to do with circles. Circle equals 50, Utah 50, Golden State 50, San Francisco 50. Also, if the Jazz win, they're 10-5, which looks a bit like 105. And 105 is the 14th triangular number. If you had 1 through 14, it's 105. So, pretty sure the Warriors fall to 3-14 here. They are a huge underdog, but they should fall. And okay. Caller?
Hey, what up, Zach?
What's up, Izzy?
Hey, so how magical things happened. The Atlantic Hawks had that the uniform. I mean, the jerseys, the new jerseys. What team was it? We talked about that had the jerseys, the special jersey, Peachtree.
Right.
Yeah. So they had that, and they had like both teams scored like 130 points. Come on, give me a break.
Right.
So how that happens? I mean, like, and then I got something else. I just saw news, and November 29th, they're gonna have the New Jersey, the Brooklyn Nets. They're gonna be having their city jersey, and it's gonna be in honor of Notorious B.I.G. And they're gonna be playing the Celtics on November 29th. And I just want to put that out there because sometimes you hear this stuff in the news, and before you know it, you don't know when they play, and then you miss it. So I just want to let you know.
So November 29th, Brooklyn Nets wear the Notorious B.I.G. jersey, huh?
Yes.
Okay.
And yeah. And right now they just said that, and then it's kind of or they're for sale right now, so you can buy it. So you know how it is. It's try to make money.
Okay.
But,
I'll see if there's any riddles that line up with that. Appreciate it.
All right.
All right. So easy. Okay, so the Nuggets and Celtics, I think Denver gets it done here. Notice the Celtics can fall to 6-4 away, and the Nuggets can improve to 6-2 at home. Denver Nuggets equals 62 and 64, so both teams' records will be perfect. If the Nuggets win, they're 11-3. Remember, that's a big number. The National Basketball Association 113. 113 is the 30th prime. Nuggets also equals 30, so it'd be fitting for them to be 11-3. And the Celtics are 4-2 versus the West. If they lose, they're 4-3. Colorado's 43. Nuggets are 4-1 versus the East. Let me go back and look at who they play again. I must not have saw anything the first time. Tom Brady injury. What's this? It's interesting because I saw some things for the Cowboys that could go. Maybe Brady doesn't play. Okay, hold on. Let me check who the Nuggets play again in the East. The Wizards. Washington, D.C. is 61. They won both. NBA cheat sheet. Yeah, all I can think of is Washington, D.C. 61. Okay, but ultimately what I like is the way the 64 and the 62 lines up and the fact of how an 11-3 record connects to Nuggets. So I think the Nuggets do get it done here tonight. And that's that game. The Rockets and Clippers is a tough call. If the Rockets lost, they'd be 11-5, and the Clippers would also be 11-5, 11 the fifth prime number, so you could get both teams with the same record. But the trouble with this game is this. The Rockets are 8-1 in the conference. Los Angeles Clippers equals 81, so they face the Clippers. We talked about that in their last game. If they won tonight, they would be 9-1. Rockets equals 91. 91's the 13th triangular number. LA's 13. Harden and Westbrook are both from LA. Of course, Harden wears 13. Also, the Rockets face Dallas next. Dallas is 13, so they could go in there with a 9-1 record. And if they beat Dallas, I'm pretty sure the Rockets play Dallas at home for their next game. Pretty sure they got the Mavericks in Houston. Yeah, that game's back in Houston. So if the Rockets won tonight, they'd get to 9-1, and if they beat the Mavericks, they'd be 10-1. Mavericks is 101. Now on the flip side, the Clippers are 9-1 at home. If they win tonight, they're 10-1, and New Orleans Pelicans equals 101. That's who they face next at home. So both teams with a win would sync up perfectly with their next opponent. So it makes it tough to say who's going to get it done here. If the Clippers did win, they would be 7-4 in the conference in the 74th NBA season. So that's another thing to consider. If the Rockets won tonight's game, they'd get their 12th win in Los Angeles. Los Angeles 37, the 12th prime. And then they play Dallas next. They could get the 13th win against Dallas. So not an easy call, this one. I looked at the key players. Paul George is 12-5 versus the Rockets. Harden's 15-18. Or whoops, I forgot to say Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard's 11-12 versus the Rockets. That's tough because if he evens it up, it's 12-12. If he loses, it's 11-13. You can make sense of both numbers with Rockets and LA. Harden's 15-18 versus the Clippers. You got the 18 date numerology. Los Angeles 53, the 16th prime. Westbrook's 23-17, so him and Harden are in contradiction. But yeah, it's just let me see who the Rockets play away again next. I think I didn't write that down actually. Hold up. Did I write it down? If the Rockets won, they would be 6-3 away on Friday. Friday is 63. I don't think I wrote that down. So it's just one other potential thing to think about. But let me find out who they play against again. Rockets' next away game. The Spurs, they don't connect to 54 or 63. 15, 30. This date will be on a date with 54 numerology. 54 numerology, the date of their next game. But yeah, I just I think the safest NBA games tonight, Nuggets, Jazz. I'd hate to get beat on the Mavericks because they're not much of a payout unless they cover. I do think they'll win tonight. There are a few things there for the Cavs. I think 76ers get it done here. And the Lakers, I think those are probably your safest group of games tonight in the NBA. So, Clippers and Rockets, unless you know something I don't, I'd be careful with that game. All right, that's NBA. NHL, just 2 games tonight. Caller?
Hey, Shaq. You can't make this thing up. Remember I was talking about the Brooklyn Nets? The New Jerseys are going to be wearing against the Celtics?
Uh-huh.
So, I'm doing further research on these jerseys, and this is the article I got. Celtics City Edition uniforms. The Celtics unveiled a new City Edition uniform Thursday on social media, adding that Boston will debut their green and gold threads at next Wednesday home game against the Brooklyn Nets.
Okay, and what's the...
I mean, like, they both against each other. They're going to have the new uniforms against each other team.
Oh, right. Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay, got it.
What a coincidence.
Yeah. All right, appreciate it, Izzy. All right, thanks, man.
Bye.
Caller?
I just told you to lie. Can you redo the basketball?
Can I what? What? Your call's broken up. Can I do what?
I said, can you redo the basketball on the safety pick? Because I just tuned in a lie. Tuned in the last one.
Yeah. Here, let me pull it back up again. Yeah, here, I'll hang up and I'll do it on the live stream right now.
You just do it, and I'll hang up on me.
Okay. All right, here, I'll just go over basketball one more time real quick. Okay, so to me, the Hawks and Piston game is a little bit dangerous. I know Rod's filling the Pistons tonight. He likes the reason Rod likes the Pistons is because he thinks they'll get that 11th loss against the Bucks their next game, and that is a good thought. Bucks does equal 11, very possible. My one concern with this game though is that if the Pistons lost, they'd be 3-4 at home, and the next team they host is Orlando. So that's just my one concern. Hornets and Wizards, not crazy about this game either. Bradley Beal's playing lights out. Yeah, if you want to take a stab at these games, you can read the notes. Bradley Beal is on fire right now, but still not crazy about that one. Kings and Nets game. Irving's out again. If the Nets did win this game, they'd be 5-3 at home. Brooklyn Nets is 53. They could improve to 4-5 versus the West on a 45 date numerology. If the Kings lost, they'd be 3-3 versus the East. New York's 33. Kings equals 33. Washington, D.C. is 137, the 33rd prime. They play at D.C. for their next game versus the East. And right now, the Nets have a winning record without Irving. They are 2-1. If they lost, they'd be 2-2. Nets does have that 22 connection. Again, I would have bolded these things for the Nets, but my one concern is if the Kings win, they'll be 7-7, and they play in Washington D.C. next, and 77 shows up all the time with D.C., the city on the 77th meridian. So that's just the one thing that's got me apprehensive about this game. The immediate things do look better here for the Nets, though. Heat and Bulls game, it's hard to go against the Heat. They're on fire right now, but again, if the Heat lose this game, they're 6-1 in the conference, and they play Philadelphia next. Philadelphia 61. Those numbers show up all the time. So Bulls have a chance at an upset here. My biggest concern about the Bulls is if they lose, they're 4-9 in the conference, and Chicago Bulls is 49, and that shows up all the time. Jimmy Butler's looking for his first win against Chicago. If he won, he'd be 1-2 against them. Chicago's 37, the 12th prime. But if Heat do lose, they haven't lost yet in the conference. They would be going to Philadelphia 6-1. So I like the Lakers tonight. The Lakers, the reason I like them is because the Thunder can fall to 3-7 in the conference. Los Angeles is 37, and the Thunder can fall to 5-4 at home. They host New Orleans next. New Orleans is 54, just like how they host LA with a 5-3 record, and Los Angeles is 53. So many teams, their home and away record is syncing up with their next opponent. So Thunder lose tonight, points right to the next opponent. The only thing to worry about with the Lakers is them falling to 4-2 away, because Lakers is 42. But I have a feeling they're going to end up being 6-1 away, that finals number. So I think the Lakers get it done there tonight. Spurs and 76ers. The Spurs can lose their 8th straight game. It'll be a record for Greg Popovich. Again, it's 2019. 19's the 8th prime. There's not a whole lot to go off of in this game, but if the Spurs do lose tonight and do lose their next game to New York, they'd be 1-8 away. New York Knicks 61, the 18th prime. So I'm thinking 76ers do give the Spurs that 8th straight loss, since we've seen so many streaks of 8 this year. Also, if the Spurs lose, they're 5-11, and 11's the 5th prime number. Philadelphia also equals 115, the reflection. So I think the Spurs get it done. And then the Cavs and Mavericks. I'd think about using the Cavs as a parlay multiplier tonight. A small bet on the money line with the games you like, just because there is a chance they can upset. That said, I suspect the Mavericks do win. Again, my first thing I noticed was that if the Mavericks win at home, they're 6-3 at home. Today's the anniversary of the JFK assassination in Dallas. That happened in 1963, like 6-3. Cavaliers is 63. Cavs is 63. Friday's 63. The Cavs narrative is they can become 3-6 away. Cavs, Cavaliers, Friday are also 36. And then if Dallas did lose tonight, they would be 4-4 versus the East, and they do play Detroit next. Detroit's 44. So that's why there's a couple things there for the Cavs, but I do suspect that the top riddle is the 6-3 on the anniversary. It's the 56-year anniversary. Okay, and then Jazz should roll over the Warriors, make the Warriors 3-14. Pie, again, Utah's 14. We've been talking about this for some time. The Warriors losing to Dallas, and then Utah to become 3-14. And if Jazz win tonight, they're 10-5, like 105, which is the 14th triangular number. Utah equals 14. Celtics and Nuggets. I like the Nuggets tonight. Celtics can fall to 6-4 away. Nuggets can improve to 6-2 at home. Denver Nuggets is 62-64. If the Nuggets win, they're 11-3, like 113, the 30th prime. Nuggets 30. And Rockets and Clippers. I think it's a little bit too dangerous. You got really good riddles going both ways. Big game for both teams to make a statement too. I have a feeling Rod's out there somewhere listening, thinking, "Man, I'm liking the 11-5, 11 the 5th prime," and that could be the winning thought. Both teams getting to 11-5, but still, I'm just looking at the things here that could go in the Rockets' favor, as well as the Clippers' favor. And to me, I'd rather just play it safe. So again, the notes are bolded. If you need me to say it again, instead just go to the notes and look what's bolded, and also just look at what's underlined. If I underline it, I think that's a definite riddle to consider. So Bulls have a chance tonight, but man, is it tough to go against the Heat the way they're playing. So okay, so there's basketball. And hockey, again, just 2 games tonight. There's usually at least one upset in a night with 2 games. I don't see a riddle between tonight's teams. New Jersey and New York are close to each other. I don't know. Anyway, the Penguins, they could pick up their 18th points at home on the 18 date numerology. Hold on, we got a call first. Caller?
Yeah, Zach. Look, if you don't mind, if you can go back to the last Game 7 of the World Series to today, because maybe it's a World Series, but you know it's just 115 World Series, and then there's Houston playing. So maybe from that World Series to today, maybe they give us the Decode.
That's a really good thought.
Go to 11-5.
That's a really good thought. That's a really good thought. I didn't even think about that. That's a winning thought right there. Let me see.
Okay, I'm listening. I guess I'll let you get back to it.
It's 23 days after the World Series ended, the 9th prime. But yeah, I hear you on the 115 for the World Series. They did use the Rockets in that huge 115th World Series. Mike D'Antoni's name even equals 115.
So look, is it 22 days a span of 20? Like Pittsburgh
No.
still have a 23 in it?
No, it's 23 days after or a span of 24.
Oh, okay. Because I was saying they could walk into with tomorrow, with the 115, 23 days after on the 23rd. You see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I think they both mirror each other 11-5. Just because of that, I think it's I do. I believe they're 11-5 there. But yep, I'll let you get back to it.
All right. Yeah. Great thought. Appreciate it.
No problem.
That's it. Yeah. Remember what they did with the Rockets on Game 7 of the World Series? The Rockets played the Wizards. And I thought I was going to be wrong about that game because I thought the Rockets would win all day. They did end up winning, but man, they were down like 8 points with a minute and I don't even think a minute and a half left. It was one of those miracle comebacks. But Mike D'Antoni got his, I believe, 631st win. Whatever it is, the 115th prime number. Yeah, Mike D'Antoni got his 631st win, Game 7 of the 115th World Series. And Mike D'Antoni's name equals 115 as well. I forget how to spell his name, but yeah. Did I write the recall how Rockets were used in 115th World Series riddle, Game 7. Rockets. I don't know how to spell Mike D'Antoni off the top of my head, but I know for a fact that his name equals 115 in Gematria. Rockets coach's name equals 115. So, I mean, that could be it. You know what? If the Rockets lost, they'd be 5-4 away as well, and baseball equals 54. And you know what? Now I'm having deja vu. You remember when the Astros won the World Series? Houston Astros equals 51. They won in Game 7. I think it was Game 7. It was Game 7. When they won the World Series in Game 7, the Astros, 2 years ago, 51 days later. Well, I think actually one of the games was 50 days later, and then the next one was 51 days later, but they were back-to-back games against L.A. Harden scored 51 points in both those games. So... yeah, maybe this is the winning clue here. Rockets would be 5-4 away with a loss. And just to throw out the devil's advocate narrative, remember Major League and Major League Baseball, both of them equal 63. Rockets would be 6-3 away with the win, but they can only be 11-5 with a loss. So, yeah, that the way they were used in that World Series, that's got me thinking, that might be exactly what it was. All right, yeah, that could be the tiebreaker right there. Because just looking at the other stuff, it is really hard to pick. Okay, okie dokie. Okay, so here's the hockey thing. New Jersey's on 18 points on an 18-date numerology. And Pittsburgh's on 26 points against the Devils. Devils is 26. If the Penguins did win, they'd pick up their 18th points at home on the 18-date numerology. And if the Penguins won, they would get their 12th win of the season. Devils does equal 37, the 12th prime. So, again, it's just a 2-game hockey day. There's usually at least one upset. The thing that could go against Pittsburgh is staying on 26 points against the Devils. And then the Rangers and Senators game, there's a better narrative for an upset in this game. It's that the Rangers could improve to 4-4 away. Rangers equals 44. New York Rangers is 193, the 44th prime. And the Senators, they're 6-4 at home. If they lost, they'd be 6-5. Ottawa Senators equals 47 and 65. The one thing that could go in the Senators' favor is just improving to 11-11 on 11-22, 11 plus 11, 22. Also, in light of it being the 22nd of the month, the Rangers could get their 22nd points today. And if the Senators lost in overtime, they would have 22 points. So, in light of there typically being at least one upset on a 2 NHL game day, I think the more likely one is the Senators to get upset at home, just because the home and away records make sense, and actually the points make a little bit more sense too if the Rangers win. So, but again, hockey 2 game days. You can always wait till days where there's more games. So there's that. And then college basketball. I went through and was just looking at game. There was a ton of games early today. I didn't do any of the earlier games, but Duke, Georgetown. Duke's a 13-point favorite. They are playing in Madison Square Garden where they love to play. Remember, New York's 111, Blue Devils is 111, Durham, North Carolina's 111, Zion Lateef Williamson's 111. So Duke's a 13-point favorite. Of course, Duke equals 41, the 13th prime, just like how Georgetown comes in 4-1 to play Duke. The thing that stands out about this game, though, is Patrick Ewing, the coach of Georgetown. And speaking of Madison Square Garden, that's where Ewing used to play. Ewing won last night. Last night they beat Texas, and we saw how both games with the coaches lined up for Georgetown to win last night. If that was Ewing's 67th game, and Hoyas equals 67, and the Texas coach got his 67th loss. Tonight's Ewing's 68th game. Hoyas equals 68 as well. Basketball's 68. This would be the biggest win of Patrick Ewing's career if he won tonight. Let me see. Patrick Ewing. All right, but yeah, here's Hoyas. 68-67. So it makes me think Georgetown has a prayer. It being Ewing's 68th game. I don't suspect Duke will lose too many games this year. But tonight there's a chance. Georgetown's not even ranked. If they won tonight, though, I imagine they'd get up there. So I'd consider Georgetown with the points, just because, or if you're looking for a big parlay multiplier, I'd consider Georgetown, on a small bet on the money line, just because it's Ewing's 68th game. Utah State, LSU. Utah State, they're playing in Jamaica, so this is a tournament. Just like this is a tournament, too, in New York. Lots of tournaments going on right now. Utah State is the slight favorite. This is the 4th game. LSU is 1-2 versus Utah State. The Jamaica Classic equals 41. Jamaica Classic equals 41, that is. That's the 13th prime. So if LSU fell to 1-3 in this tournament versus Utah State, that could make sense. But at the same time, LSU can also improve to 4-1 on the season. The Utah State coach is 33-7. If he did not win, he would be, and by the way, 337 is the 68th prime, like basketball, 68. But if he didn't win, he'd stay on 33 wins versus the Tigers. Tigers is 33. He's 112-62 overall, though, including other teams he's coached for. LSU Tigers equals 113. So he'd get his 113th win. Friday 63, could get the 63rd loss. So, I mean, it makes it tough. Oh, right, there was something right here I should have wrote down. The LSU coach is 49-23. If he won, he'd get his 50th win. Utah is 50. I mean, technically they're Utah State, but they're still a Utah school. Just like how they come in 5-0. So, to me, very dangerous game. If I got it right, I'd say I was lucky. Houston and Oregon. Houston, 7-point dog on the road at Oregon. I noticed 231s could hit here, and Houston and 31 is a number that shows up a lot. Houston can get to 3-1 overall, and Oregon could become 3-1 at home by losing to Houston. Oregon's never beat Houston. They're 0-2, but they've also never played in Oregon. Eugene does equal 30. Houston could become 3-0 versus Oregon in Eugene. I wonder if we see a 74 point in either team score tonight. Houston Cougars equals 74, Oregon 74. If the Ducks lost, they would be 4-1. Houston does equal 41 as well. 41's the 13th prime. Ducks is 13. And let's see. Ducks does equal 13 in the most pure cipher, but it does have an S, so it is also 22. If Houston lost tonight, they would be 2-2 after facing the Ducks. And again, Oregon's a pretty good team, so Houston on the road is an underdog. I mean, it would be a tough upset, but Houston in 31, we know how much that number shows up, so there is a potential narrative there. Again, if you're trying to group together good games tonight and make some small parlays and throw on things that can multiply in a big way, it's another potential upset to think about. Houston, Oregon. Xavier and UConn. This game's the Charleston Classic, another tournament, South Carolina. UConn's 1-0 against Xavier. Not a lot of history with these teams. UConn Huskies equals 51. If Xavier lost, they would be 5-1. And if UConn, or hold on. Actually, the Xavier coach, he's 23-16. If he lost, he'd stay on 23 wins facing UConn. UConn's 23. So to me, it looks like another potential upset here. Again, both teams playing at a neutral site. But UConn Huskies 51. And let me check one more thing about that. Yeah, it's in this cipher, so it has two S's, so it wouldn't also be 60, it would also be 69. But makes me think UConn's got a shot there. And Montana and Washington. Washington's a big favorite at home tonight. Montana's lost 6 straight games. They're 2-13 at Washington. If Montana lost, they would be 1-4 against the Huskies. Huskies is 43, the 14th prime. There's a couple things that could go against Washington tonight, though. Grizzlies is 131, the 32nd prime. Washington could fall to 3-2 at home. Montana Grizzlies equals 83, the 23rd prime. If they won, they would be 2-3. And the Washington coach is 51-23. If he lost, he'd get his 24th loss, and Montana's 24. So that would definitely be a nice upset. We'll see. The Huskies basketball team, it's been ranked several times in the past at the beginning of the year, and then they suck, and then they end up not ranked. So remains to be seen. I mean, it's too early in the season to tell, but a loss to Montana would take them right out of the rankings. So there are a few things there that could go against the Huskies. Also, the Montana coach, he's 110-61. If he did not lose today, he'd stay on those 61 losses on the 18th, 61 the 18th prime. Towson and Buffalo, this one's tough because Bulls equals 33. Towson could become 3-3 on the season by defeating the Bulls, or if Buffalo wins, the Buffalo Bulls, they'd be 3-3 versus Tyson all time. And Bulls and Tigers both equal 33. Towson's the Tigers, Buffalo's the Bulls. But again, a lot of the games are just like this today, so I was like, I'm not so crazy about that. Georgia State, Prairie View A&M. This is the Empire Classic. Empire Classic equals 60. If the Georgia State coach gets one more win in this tournament, he'd have 60 wins. Empire Classic 60. He's 59 and 73 right now. The Prairie View A&M coach, he's 58 and 61. I should write 61. 18th prime, 18 date numerology. His next win is 59, and where they're playing Riverside CA equals 59. So they're the underdogs. Again, this is a tournament as well. Nobody's at home. So Georgia State's favored. And again, just tough based off the information that's there. Wake Forest and Davidson game. The biggest clue in this game is Davidson is 13 and 39 versus Wake Forest. Today leaves 39 days left in the year. So if Davidson won, they'd stay on 39 losses all time against Wake Forest. And Davidson's got the better program this year, so they're the favorite at home. But that's probably the biggest clue, staying on the 39 losses. And the game's in Charlotte as well, which is another thing that could be stated. Charlotte equals 39. So that's probably where that's at. So Davidson probably takes care of Wake Forest there. And let's see. Ohio and Utah. This game's in Conway, SC, Conway, South Carolina, which equals 41. If Utah wins, they're 4-1. The Ohio coach, he is 58 and 43 all time. He can stay on those 58 wins. Utah's 58. And the Utah coach, I didn't really see anything with him. Ohio Bobcats. Let me just check Ohio Bobcats one more time. Ohio Bobcats. Yeah, I didn't see anything there. But the Ohio coach can stay on 58 wins. Utah's 58. And Utah can improve to 4-1 in an appropriate location. And let me pull up the name of the tournament again real quick. Oh, these are the ranked games. Okay, seriously, where's the game at? Alright, there we go. Okay. Myrtle Beach Invitational. That equals 105, the 14th triangular number. Utah's 14 as well. So I'll make a note about that. Myrtle Beach Invitational equals 105, 14th triangular number. So equals 14. But yeah, I think Utah handles business here. Keeps that Ohio coach on the 58 wins. Evansville, they're the team that just upset Kentucky. Let's see. I don't think I finished decoding this. I think this is where I started the live stream. Let's see. Evansville, what are the Purple Aces? That's right. Evansville. Purple Aces. East Carolina. Oops. East Carolina. Pirates. 127, 31st prime. Okay. Okay. This game's in Nassau, Bahamas. $18. $87. Yeah, I don't see anything that really stands out about this game. I mean, the fact that Evansville just beat Kentucky makes me think they have a pretty good team, and they're probably a team that's on their way to the tournament this year. So winning games like this is crucial. Actually, did I just see a... Hold on. Maybe I saw something I overlooked. No. No, I don't think so, actually. Yeah, so there's no great clue in the numbers that I'm spotting. Or wait, hold on. Pirates. Oh yeah, Pirates is 47, the 15th prime. There is actually one clue there. The Evansville coach can get his 15th win over the Pirates. Pirates 47, the 15th prime. So there's one thing there. Okay. And then there was just a couple more games today that had decent point spreads. So look at this Bowling Green Western Kentucky game, Temple USC, and then we'll just review everything. And then I'll get on with decoding college football and get those notes out tonight, just like I've been doing on Friday nights. So let's see. Western Kentucky. In Bowling Green, so very close matchup here. All right, Western Kentucky leads 20-6. 27th game. Western Kentucky leads 20-6, and wait, is this game? Oh, this is another tournament, so there's no home and away. However, one team's still considered the home team. I'll just skip that part for now. Alright. Western Kentucky, they are the Hilltoppers, and Bowling Green is the Falcons. Western Kentucky. Bowling Green's 131, the 32nd prime. If Bowling Green lost, they would fall to 3-2. 131, the 32nd prime. Alright, so that's the biggest clue in terms of team names. Let's get the coaches here. Michael Huger. Bowling Green coach is 70-66. Western Kentucky coach is Rick Stansberry. He's 66 and 42. And what? He had more games too. 359, 208 all time. All right, let's go back and look. So Bowling Green, 70, 66. 66. The Western Kentucky coach. Kentucky does equal 43, I'm pretty sure. Let me see. 66 and 42. Alright, pretty sure Kentucky equals 43. Yeah, it does. So that's just the one thing that could go against the Western Kentucky coach, is getting his 43rd loss in a battle of two Kentucky teams. But it doesn't have to be that way. Oops, the wrong thing. Alright, let's look at the name of the tournament real quick. Paradise Jam. Oh, Paradise Jam's 43 as well, huh? That's interesting. So he could get his 43rd loss at the Paradise Jam. Caller?
Hey, good afternoon, Zach.
What's up, Victor?
I just wanted to ask you a question about the Duke game. I'm wondering if you being a New York fan, I know he never wore a championship with the Knicks. I'm wondering if this might be one of those gimmies, you know what I mean? As far as like him not winning a championship in the league.
You're talking about Ewing.
Yeah, Patrick Ewing.
Right.
Because it wouldn't be a real championship, but it is like an in-season tournament, so it would be like one of those smaller ones.
Right. And it would be his biggest accomplishment as a coach so far.
Yeah.
So.
But I'm trying to figure. Okay, so this is the reason why I called. I lost my train of thought for a second. Mike Krzyzewski, he tied a record after the last game they won. He tied with John Wooden. I think it was for most games having won when you have a number one when you're the number one team in America.
Uh-huh.
I think it's like 2-7. Yeah. So what I noticed, I don't know if this is something you noticed before. Usually when people either tie records or break records, they have like a come down game after that.
Sure.
So I was just thinking if you ever observed anything like that, because he did just tie a record with John Wooden, who's arguably one of the best, if not the best, college coach.
Right. Yeah, that's a great thought. And again, Patrick Ewing won last night in his 67th game. Hoya's 67. It's also 68. Basketball 68. That's what I'm thinking. This game's, I mean, he's playing Duke, so the stage is set for him to have a big accomplishment.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That was all.
All right. Take care, man. See you. Okay. I don't exactly know how this tournament is because I'm trying to find the bracket. Because he doesn't necessarily have to get that 43rd loss today. I imagine he'd advance in the bracket. He could get the 43rd loss in the next round of the tournament, but it looks like the tournament ends today. So why does it... Alright, it's not gonna... Alright, there's no bracket here, is there? Yeah, I'd like to see how it's structured, because, I mean, it looks like he will get his 43rd loss in this Paradise Jam. It doesn't necessarily have to come today. It's just without seeing the bracket and where things are going, it's unclear. So let's see. Virgin Islands is 67. Virgin Islands, where it's at, is 67. The Bowling Green coach could get his 67th loss, and the Western Kentucky coach can get his 67th win. Imagine once you lose, you're eliminated. If Western Kentucky won, they'd be 21-6. Again, 21 is the 6th triangular number. It's not quite a prime number relationship, but you got a little mathematical pattern there. All right, let me look at this Temple USC game. Let's see. The Orlando Invitational. These teams are 1-1 against each other. Temple. Temple's the Owls, right? Yeah, Owls. USC Trojans. USC Trojans. Owls. Temple. Owls. Okay. So, can anyone hit any of these numbers? USC. If USC lost at home, they'd be 4-1. Temple Owls is 41. Let's see here. USC basketball coach. USC coach 115-93. You know how earlier we were talking about the LA Houston game and both teams possibly being 11-5. One other thing I just thought about is JFK's assassination. The date numerology was 115. Just thinking maybe it makes that number matter a little bit more today. 11/22/1963. USC coach 115-93, 156, 121 all time. Temple coach is Aaron McKee. I know Aaron McKee. How old's he now? He's 3-0, first year. Okay. Let's look one more time. 115-93. What was the overall? 156, 121. USC. If you use the roll for S, Temple Owls is also 50, but USC is already 5-0. All right, USC is 20. If Temple won, they'd be 2-0 away. Temple also equals 71, the 20th prime. So if Temple won, 2-0 away, could make sense against USC 20. And then Temple Owls equals 41, 13th prime. USC could fall to 4-1 at home, and of course LA is 41-13. So Temple has a chance to upset USC. They have a shot. Let me check out the name of this tournament here. Orlando Invitational. Talent Center. Los Angeles CA is 41-2. Caller? Caller?
Yeah, Zach.
Yeah.
I think this is Patrick Ewing's 69th game. That's Sports Reference isn't updated. They should be 4-1 in the conference. They have them at 3-1, I believe. The game from last night, I don't think is updated.
Really?
Yeah, he should be 38-30 right now.
Huh.
And if you look at their record, like on ESPN, they're 4-1. But Sport Reference has them as 3-1 right now.
Shoot.
You see that?
Yeah, that could be a great catch there. Let me see. Yeah, shoot, you're right about that. So it's not up to date. What's interesting about that though, is so if you had +1, that puts him at 38 wins. And that means he could get his 39th win today. Blue Devils is 39, and today leaves 39 days left in the year.
Okay, well, there you go. Still works out, I guess, but...
Yeah, it's not his 68th game anymore, though. Yeah, shoot. All right, I do appreciate that tip. Thank you.
No problem. See you.
All right, see you, man. It makes me wonder how many of these other coaches might be off, too. Why aren't they keeping... Usually this site's great about being up to date. Let's see, they got Aaron McKee at 3-0. And Temple's 3-0. So, well, that one's correct. Maybe it's just the Ewing one. Okay. Okay, so... So again, it's showing that Georgetown's 3-1 here, and they did win last night. We know that. So they're 4-1 now. So that means he's 38-30. So there's still an interesting riddle here, even though it is a little bit different. I guess. So Blue Devils equals 39. Today leaves 39 days in the year. New York is 39. Empire's 39. It's the Empire Classic. MSG's 39. So there's still a chance that Georgetown could upset Duke. I liked it better when it was the 68th game, just because that's a basketball number. But now you have a riddle with 39, and that's not a bad riddle either. 39 in New York over the Blue Devils. So I'd think about Georgetown. They'd be a nice payout tonight. You don't have to bet a lot on it to win a lot, especially if you hit it with some other good games. So let's do it one more time. Let's just review what we're looking at today. College, NBA, hockey, and okay. All right, so just to run over college basketball again. Again, I think Duke's going places this year. That's why it's hard to go against them. But we are seeing that Ewing can get his 39th win as a coach in New York, where he used to play basketball for the Knicks. On the day leaving 39 days left in the year, you can get his 39th win. Blue Devils 39, New York 39, Empire 39, MSG 39. So, be Patrick Ewing's biggest win of his early coaching college career. But the riddle is there, so wouldn't say it's a lock by any stretch of the imagination, but it would be a nice upset. Utah State and LSU, I wouldn't mess with this game. Houston and Oregon. Ducks are a good basketball team, and it's hard to go against that than being at home. But again, Houston in 31 hits a lot. If Houston wins, they're 3-1 on the season, and Oregon falls to 3-1 at home. So it's possible. The Houston coach's next loss is number 281. That's the 60th prime. Oregon Ducks does have the 60 Gematria as well. So if Houston lost, they'd be 2-2. Ducks has the 13 and 22 connection. Xavier UConn. If Xavier, the favorite, loses this game, they're 5-1 on the season. UConn Huskies is 51. The Xavier coach could also stay on 23 wins. UConn's 23. Montana and Washington. Washington's a big favorite at home. They very well could win. If Montana loses, they're 1-4. Huskies is 43, the 14th prime. But there's some potential upset narratives here. The Huskies coach can pick up his 24th loss. Montana equals 24. And if Montana coach doesn't lose, he'll stay on 61 losses on the 18th, 61 the 18th prime. And you can make an argument for the Montana Grizzlies to win because Grizzlies is 131, the 32nd prime. Washington could fall to 3-2. Montana Grizzlies is 83, the 23rd prime. They could improve to 2-3. So potential upset there. Towson and Buffalo, not messing with it. Georgia State, Prairie View A&M, not messing with it. Wake Forest, Davidson. You got a 39 thing here. Again, the days of the year are important. Davidson has 39 losses against Wake Forest. They can stay on 39 losses on the day, leaving 39 days left in the year, plus the games in Charlotte, which equals 39. So I think Davidson does get Wake Forest here. And Ohio, Utah. I like Utah here. The Ohio coach can stay on 58 wins. Utah's 58. Utah can improve to 4-1 in Conway, South Carolina, which has a 41 Gematria. And we saw that the name of this tournament has a connection to Utah as well. So I think Utah. Here, I'll go back and bold the things that look better to me today. So again, if you're scanning this, was there anything up here that I liked? Okay. Houston 31. Look at both these things. Okay. Okie dokie. Evansville, East Carolina. Again, it looks like Evansville is going to be one of these happy stories this year in college basketball. Maybe even a Sweet 16 team that does something. So their coach wins today. He'd get his 15th win. Pirates, he'd stay on 22 losses on the 22nd as well. So you get his 15th win. Pirates 47, the 15th prime, and stay on 22 losses on the 22nd. And Bowling Green, Western Kentucky. Again, because I don't have enough tournament information, I'm not going to mess with it. But Bowling Green, who's been dominated in this series between these two teams, if they do lose today, they're 3-2, which would connect to Bowling Green. And then Temple and USC, another potential upset here. Temple, a 9-point dog on the road, but there's some things there. Get improving to 2-0 away against USC would make a little bit of sense. And the Temple Owls 41 connection. USC falling to 4-1 at home in LA. So that's it for college basketball. and I'll post those notes. NBA, I still think this Hawks-Pistons game's dangerous. Rod might have the right call on it. Rod's filling the Pistons because the Pistons' next loss is 11 and their next game's against the Bucks, which is 11, so he feels that they'll pick up that 11th loss against the Bucks and become 5-11 against the Bucks, winning today, getting the 5th win, picking up the 11th loss, 11 the 5th prime. He could have the right read on that. Again, the reason I'm apprehensive about it is if the Pistons lose, they're 3-4 at home, and Orlando's 34, who they host next. If they win, they're 4-3, the reflection, which is also possible. Detroit's 44, so there's a good chance they split the next 2 home games. They could win today and then lose to Orlando, who's playing a little bit better than the Hawks. But a little bit dangerous to me. Hornets and Wizards. Charlotte equals 39. Today leaves 39 days left in the year. Bradley Beal is on fire right now. Let me see how many days it is from Bradley Beal's birthday, just in case. Just in case that gives us something we need, because I think this game's tight. June 28th birthday. That's the day my first YouTube channel got deleted. June 28th, 2017. Let's see. It's 147 days, 21 weeks. Special numbers there. Beal is 9-17 versus Charlotte. It is a day with 18 numerology. Yeah, I'm not going to mess with this game. If the Wizards did win, they'd be 3-3 at home. Washington, D.C., 137, the 33rd prime. I just worry about them falling to 4-9 because Washington's 49 in the most pure cipher. It is also 58. Both numbers play, but that 49 shows up more with Washington. So I'm skipping that one. Kings and Nets. Nets don't have Kyrie, but they have a winning record without Kyrie. They're 2 wins and 1 loss right now. If the Nets won tonight, they would be 5-3 at home. Brooklyn Nets is 53. If the Nets won, they'd be 4-5 versus the West on a 45 date numerology. If the Kings lost, they'd be 3-3 versus the East. New York's 33. Kings is 33. Washington, D.C.'s 137, the 33rd prime. They play D.C. next in the East. And again, all of that looks better for the Nets to me, but I still have the same problem. If the Kings win, they're 7-7 going into D.C., where 77 shows up all the time. So if I take the Nets and the Kings win tonight, I'm gonna be like, I'll be thinking, yeah, I don't know why I fell for that, man. DC and 77, it comes through all the time. So, and it is true that DC and 77 shows up all the time, but man, all of these signs right here for the immediate game look good for the Nets. So sometimes a 77 riddle fails with DC, so probably just let it go. Heat and Bulls. This could be an upset. It's really hard to go against the Heat, who are on fire right now. But if the Heat lost tonight, they would be 6-1 in the conference. They play Philadelphia next. And I guess what else I could say is 61, 18th prime, 18-date numerology today. So if Miami loses, their record's perfect for their next opponent in the conference, Philadelphia. And I am thinking Miami's probably going to beat Philadelphia, unless Philadelphia lost tonight to the Spurs. But I suspect that won't be what happens. So that's the potential upset narrative. The big concern with the Bulls is if they lose, they're 4-9 in the conference, and Chicago Bulls and 49 shows up all the time. So Jimmy Butler playing his old team. If Jimmy Butler won tonight, he'd be 1-2 versus Chicago. Chicago's 37, the 12th prime. Game I do like, Lakers and Thunder. If the Thunder lose tonight, they become 3-7 in the conference. Los Angeles is 37. If the Thunder lose tonight, they're 5-4 at home. New Orleans is 54, who they play next. So, based on those two things, I like the Lakers. The one concern for the Lakers is they could fall to 4-2 away. Lakers is 42. But, again, teams hitting that home or away record that syncs with the next opponent happens a whole lot. It's a winning indicator, so got to roll with that. And it's just like how the Thunder are 5-3 at home. Los Angeles is 53. They lose, they're 5-4. New Orleans is 54, who they host next. Spurs and 76ers. I'm going to take this streak of 8 here. The Spurs can lose their 8th straight game. 36 is the 8th triangular number. Friday equals 36. Philadelphia also equals 115. So if the Spurs lose, they're 5-11, like 115 in reverse. Philadelphia 115. And if Philadelphia wins, again, they are 6-0 at home, and Philadelphia in 61. Their next game at home is against Miami, so they'd be facing Jimmy Butler, who played for the 76ers last year. The Cavs and Mavericks game, again, it's Dallas. It's the anniversary of the JFK assassination, which happened in 1963. If the Mavericks win tonight, they're 6-3 at home. Cavaliers is 63, Cavs is 63, Friday is 63. So I think that is what happens. The devil's advocate narrative is Cavs, Cavaliers, and Friday all equal 36, and the Cavs could become 3-6 away. And if the Cavs did upset the Mavericks would be 4-4 versus the East, and they face Detroit next, and Detroit equals 44. So there is a potential upset here. I'd think about using the Cavaliers as a parlay multiplier, but Dallas is red hot, and again, I think the ritual is 63 here. So 6-3 at home. I still think that's the top riddle. And then Warriors and Jazz. Again, Warriors fall to 3-14, just like Steph Curry's birthday, 3-14, March 14th. They pick up their 14th loss against Utah. Utah's 14. Utah improves to 10-5. 105 is the 14th triangular number. Again, Utah, 14. So Utah should be good to go. Celtics and Nuggets. I like that Denver Nuggets equals 62 and 64, and the Nuggets can get to 6-2 at home and drop the Celtics to 6-4 away. I also like that the Nuggets can become 11-3, 1-1-3, the 30th prime. Nuggets 30. So I like that. If the Celtics lose, they're 4-3 versus the West. Colorado's 43. If the Nuggets win their next two in the East, they'll be 6-1 versus the East. Washington, D.C. equals 61, who they face next. And then Rockets and Clippers, really tight. You got strong riddles going both ways. But I think Rod has the right idea in this game. We saw the Rockets used in the 115th World Series riddle. Game 7, Mike D'Antoni, whose name equals 115, got his 631st win, the 115th prime, over the Washington, D.C. team like the Nationals. So notice both teams can be 11-5. And it gives me deja vu how when the Rockets when the Astros beat the Dodgers in the World Series, the final game was 5-1, Houston Astros 51, and James Harden scored 51 in back-to-back games in L.A., and one of those games was 51 days from the conclusion of the World Series. So this could be another World Series tribute right here. It's too bad they're not playing the Wizards, but both teams would be 11-5. 11, the 5th prime number. So I'd still rate this as a fairly dangerous game, but if I got to pick a side, I think I'm going to go with the home team because of the 1-1-5 thing and the fact that the Rockets were used in the 115th World Series ritual. So, the games that are bolded in basketball and college are what I think are the strongest riddles on the board tonight. Stuff that's underlined are other things to definitely consider. The one other thing is hockey. You got a 2-game night. Usually on 2-game nights, there's at least one upset. Sometimes there's a double upset. The game that looks more likely to be the upset is the Rangers beating the Senators. Again, if the Penguins win tonight, they would get their... Let me make sure I'm not missing something real quick with this. Okay, so again, the points are tough to tell for both teams. The points are concerning for both teams. Either team, you could make an argument to stay on the points that they're on. If the Penguins win, they will get their 12th win of the season. Devils equals 37, the 12th prime number. So it is a fitting team to get the 12th win against. And then the Rangers and Senators game, the points look a little bit better for the Rangers here. They could get their 22nd points on the 22nd of the month. If the Rangers did win, they'd be 4-4 away. Rangers equals 44. New York Rangers also equals 193, the 44th prime. And if the Senators lost, they'd be 6-5 at home. Ottawa Senators equals 65. So, again, hockey on 2 game days is pretty dangerous. But my hunch is if there's going to be one upset tonight, it's probably the Rangers upsetting the Senators, since the Penguins have a narrative to pick up that 12th win against the appropriate opponent. So I will post the college basketball notes, and we can call it a day. Remember, no live stream tomorrow morning, but I will get the notes out for sports, and then in the early afternoon, early evening time, if you're on the East Coast, we'll do the NFL Week 12 decode. And let me just put these notes here. Somebody says, this is my last night in Vegas for training. I'm taking the Ravens, Duke, and Clemson to become champs. What you think? Okay, so Clemson has the riddle through the running back, the former running back of Clemson who died this offseason. His death was the exact amount of days from the championship game that sunk with Clemson Tigers. His name was Dye. Forget his first name. D-Y-E. So, yeah, I think because of that, it's very similar to last year's riddle. The other team that... the other big death before the season began was Beanie Wells' brother, connected to the Ohio State game. And that very well could end up being the championship game, Clemson and Ohio State. So, but yeah, that Clemson death was perfectly synced with the championship date. Duke, Coach K can get his 6th championship in the Atlanta building where Saban and Belichick got it. And Ravens, Ravens, they definitely got a narrative. So, I mean, NFL's still tough to call as many riddles are on the board, but the Ravens are playing like the team. That Battle of New Orleans, War of 1812, National Anthem in Baltimore, all those riddles we know are real. So if it ended up being a Baltimore and Saints Super Bowl and Baltimore took it, very possible. Baltimore won their last Super Bowl in New Orleans against the 49ers. Could end up playing them in Miami, so... Yeah, Michigan State, because we did just see the death of Cassius Winston's brother by the Wolverine train. So yeah, Michigan State would be a good backup pick for what we know right now in college basketball. Let's see. Marty's filling the Kings going into DC into 7-7. Okay. I'll look into the Muhammad Ali question. I know why you're asking that, because the whole Lamar Jackson thing happened right after Muhammad Ali's death. Muhammad Ali got a 19-mile funeral procession in Louisville, and the next thing you know, you had the 19-year-old Lamar Jackson. And that whole year, they had Lamar Jackson's birthday listed as the exact same day as Muhammad Ali's birthday. And then they changed it after he went to the NFL. They changed Lamar Jackson's birthday. Caller?
Yeah, Zach, I wanted to ask you before you got off, what was that observation that you had made about either 15 or 51 in connection to today JFK death?
Did I say something about 15 and 51 with JFK's assassination?
You said something about the day.
Oh, 115. 115. 115. He died on a date with 115 numerology.
Oh, 115. Okay. I thought you said 15 or 51.
Yeah, 115. 115.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
Just one other thing I had saw with today being the 33-day numerology, that would be in Patrick Ewing's number.
That's true. Yep.
I'm gonna put a little something on it.
Hold on. Let me see how many days it is from Patrick Ewing's birthday is August 5th. I remember that. He's got the August.
It's 110. It's a span of have 110 days or 109.
I wish it was 111.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for too. But I mean, the 110 is like 11. I mean.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. All right. Yeah, good work.
All right.
All right, thanks, man. And hold on, one other person just called in real quick. Let me call him back. Take this one last call and then call it a show.
What's up, brother?
Hey, what's up, man? I saw you just called in.
Oh, okay, yeah. I was gonna bring up if we can measure how many days from Muhammad Ali's death to the Super Bowl, because Lamar Jackson went to Louisville.
Oh, right. Yeah, I was just talking about your comment. Okay.
Oh, okay.
He died on June. Did Muhammad Ali die on June 3rd, 2016?
I remember.
I think it was June 3rd, 2016, the day he died. Let me see. I know he died at age 74, because I predicted that. Yeah, he died on June 3rd, just like how the Prophet Muhammad died at age 63. So, June 3rd, 2016. Let's see. Oh, by the way, I just saw this article, or they were just talking about how it's 42 seasons since Doug Williams of the Redskins, who won the Super Bowl with 42 points, was drafted. And they're calling this the year of the black quarterback. So that's got me feeling a black quarterback Super Bowl champion narrative even more. Let me see.
Oh, yeah, it's going to happen this year. Oh, yeah.
It's 41 years after, or the 42nd season since he was drafted. In Baltimore's 41. It's 1,339 days after his death to the Super Bowl, 191 weeks and 2 days. 1339, I don't know if that's prime. It's not. Yeah, I'll think more about that, though, how that might all tie together, so.
Got it. There was, did you see the Toronto Maple Leafs fired their coach?
Yeah, 2 days ago.
Yep, and they hired some guy named Sheldon Keefe. Reminds me of I think the St. Louis Blues made a coaching change, and all of a sudden they caught fire. If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and yesterday they ended their losing streak with the new coach. It's 6 losses on the 21st. So.
And look who they did it against: Arizona, 39.
What's the thought about 39?
Revelation.
Canada equals 39. Stanley's 39. Well, Revelation is based on the 39 books of the Old Testament? What do you mean with Revelation?
I thought there were the book, Revelation 39 book. Yeah, 39.
Well, there's 39 books in the Old Testament, but Revelation's based on the Old Testament. There's 22 chapters in Revelation. So.
Okay. I've been looking at an Islanders, Toronto, Islanders, Washington, Eastern Conference Finals. So for me, when they fired the coach, it was like, okay, now we're going to see what's going on here. Because then we had the death of the sports writer. Or was he a sports writer? Someone affiliated with the Maple Leafs. And then there was also an article involving someone involved in New York, and his last name was Hickey. And the New York Islanders have a defenseman named Thomas Hickey.
Huh.
Oh, that was his name, Trevor Hickey. I'm like, this is kind of odd. Like, well, let me look this up here. So yeah, and then the Islanders, if you were to look back to the 82 season, it was so funny. Their 15 game, they were going for 16 points in a row. 16 games in a row with a point, shall I say. And they lost to the Pittsburgh Penguins 4-3. So now, X amount of years later, they win 4-3 in overtime. So for me, it's if the Islanders do make the cup, they're going to lose the cup.
I'm just wondering when Canada is finally going to win a Stanley Cup again. They haven't won since '93, so.
I'm not counting out the Leafs just yet. I think this coaching change is actually it's going to tell a lot about them. Just reminds me of the Blues. I think when they made their coaching change.
Sure.
But we will see.
All right.
And then and one more thing. This if again I'm on the Colts. If they do make the playoffs and if they play Houston outside of the first round, it looks good for them to win because Brissett lost last night.
Okay.
And his lifetime career record would be 5-1 against Houston Texans. But they can't play in the first round. Well, they can, but then it's tricky Because they lose in the first round, it's 7-7. But if he wins, it's 5-1. So that's the worst case scenario.
All right. Yeah, good observations.
All right, brother.
All right, appreciate it, man. Have a good one.
Yeah, man.
All right, take care. See you. All right, you guys, we'll leave it there. I'll post the college basketball notes, and we'll reconvene tomorrow. Good luck. Until next time.